Come on. Chop, chop.
Why is it spelled chop chop? I've just noticed that on here.
Because it's an Abel, bro.
Chop chop?
I asked him the same thing. He said chop chop. I said chip chip. It's chip chip, really.
Chop chop. That's after the goat.
Titty twerk on the beat. Titty twitty twerk on the beat.
It's like little pianos kicking.
I just like that clap. Yo, what it do, cousins? It's your boy Benny Hunnits. As always, I'm with my brother. The funk is real. And this is the Villagers Podcast. Welcome to the Village. We are on episode 15. Sorry for the wait. We had a little remix. We actually recorded 3 days ago or so, 4 days ago, and then literally the next day, everything we recorded changed. Like everything that happened, more facts were out. The Democratic Party was consolidated, all sorts of crazy stuff. So we decided to just wait it out and let the dust settle before we record again and come out with some real info instead of some fake info or dated info. You feel me?
No fake news here.
No fake news here. No fake news here. I do want to. It is Sunday, right? So it is daylight savings time. We woke up late as hell today because we lost an hour. So that's kind of let you know where we at right now. Everybody reset your clocks.
Spring forward.
Spring forward. You're gonna have later nights. With I guess like sun will be out past like 8:30 now. But the morning will be dark, right?
Dark as hell. So probably won't come out till about like 8 almost. Well, for us in Texas at least.
Yeah. So it's kind of where we at calendar wise. First and foremost, starting off.
It's about that time intro.
Yeah, we always want to start off, just like we start off every morning in Addis with a little bit time, a little circle, a little sip, and just go over what's going on in our community. And our community lost a very well-known bright light in our community over the last week or so. Caleb, he passed away in Ethiopia. Car accident and lack of proper care over there, and he didn't make it out. He was in the ICU for a few days and ended up passing away. So I definitely want to send a shout out, love, good energy, condolences out to his family. Obviously the whole community was aware of it. It's, he was a prominent figure, man, a shining light. His project or platform, Ethiopia in Me, he toured the world, really, would go around, and as a biracial individual, he didn't really look completely Ethiopian. So like when he would pull up on people, even though he was raised Ethiopian, raised by his mom who's Ethiopian, pull up like speaking Amharic to people and like spreading the culture, it was just like it was a big deal. That's probably the best way to put it. It was a big deal, man, because it kind of just spread awareness and brought people's, especially the older generation, like kind of brought them out of like these weird silos that they have and ideas that they have in their head of like Ethiopia being this really small circle. It's like, we out here, man. And he was doing a great job of spreading that and doing it with like love and great energy.
Right. Definitely a big influence and an impact to the diaspora.
Yeah. The diaspora, the whole internet community, YouTube and all that. Like, so I just want to make sure that we took the time to say rest in peace and rest in power to Caleb.
Yes, sir. Much love and condolences to the family and friends out there. For
sure. And so with that being said, we do have a lot that's went on since the last time we recorded. Pretty long list here. So
I guess, hey, you want to start with your DJ friend?
Oh yeah, shout out to the homie DJ Oso out of Atlanta. She is now the face of Reebok. They gave her like basically her own shoe, you know what I'm saying, that she's the face of, and that she gets to like,
she gets her own signature shoe. Not
her own signature shoe, but like
she's like a brand ambassador.
Yeah, brand ambassador, but it's the Zig Kineticas, and like she's the face of it. So like she's the one who's like they're branding it like with her. And so that was really cool. Shout out to Essence Magazine. They like kind of broke it and put it out there. And you know, if you follow her at all, you'll see like all over her Instagram, where she is you know, basically like the face is, I don't know how to say, she's the face of a whole shoe. That shit is so dope to me. And she's just an awesome person. I got to meet her in Addis during Everyday People, and we got to kick it, and she's just really cool. And she's also a really good example. I talked to her about the show. We'll probably have her on if she comes to Dallas, or when she comes, or we may just have to pull up on her. But we talked about like the idea of going after your dreams early. And if you follow her, you know her story. She started DJing like relatively late as far as like age wise, you know. People feel like you have to start this thing early and young, like super young, like in your teens, and she did. And she was a full grown adult when she decided to get into it, you know, mid-20s, and now she's killing the game. And I just think that she's a great example of, you know, going after what you want no matter when it is. And also, she's just like a beautiful person. She's really cool.
It's never too late to pursue your dreams.
For sure.
There's plenty of people in history and in all aspects of life, entertainment, business, you name it, that started out late and progressed and have accomplished great things at a later point in their life.
Yeah.
Time will come for everything and for everyone.
For sure. And, you know, even late is like a relative term, right? Like,
yeah. It's just a misconception that, especially I think it's when you're young, there's a misconception that if you're not whatever you perceive successful to be by a certain point, whether it's 30 or 25, that your time is ran up.
Yeah.
Like, no, you got plenty of life to live, man. People live until 100, bro. You got lots of,
especially, you know, we obviously we got them good genes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? we ain't even cracked the surface yet, man. We still look like we teenagers.
Facts.
I know a lot of people listening probably won't agree, but screw you. I look youthful, okay?
She definitely falls into that category too, because I had no idea how old she was when I met her. She's just, like I said, super cool person, super dope, super deserving. She works her ass off. She's got her own like event series, Bounce That. It's bounce.that.party on Instagram. And so yeah, shout out to Oso. Great job. I just wanted to make sure that we got her out there and let people know that we out here, man. We out here. DJ Oso is her Instagram handle. Oso as in OHSO and then XO. So DJ OHSO XO.
Bet.
Bow. Shout out to her. Go ahead.
No, we saw last night, you and I and Yafet and Salam watched probably one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, as far as the headlining, the headline sucked. Now, talking about dope women, strong women.
Oh yeah, it is International Women's Day, by the way.
Exactly.
To all you
yes,
women.
shout out to all the women's of the international community.
It's technically Women's Month as well.
Oh yeah, March is Women's Month.
March is Women's Month.
Bet. So we winning. So actually, going on with that theme, that's awesome. You know, we had celebrating one dope woman with DJ Oso. The next of these dope ass fighters that were out there.
These UFC fighters, for those.
Bro.
I know it's a lot of people don't either like UFC because it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it is.
But damn.
Yeah, they went in. Let's talk about gruesome. So you had Li Zhang out of
Zhang Weili.
Yeah, Zhang. I'm fucking these names up today.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Zhang Weili from China.
Yeah, Zhang Weili of China, and then I'm not even going to attempt the lady's name.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Jędrzejczyk. Was she from Poland?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were going in. Jędrzejczyk, whatever her last, the lady from Poland, her head doubled in size by the end of the fight. Yeah. She was getting dotted on her forehead. The other junk was bruised up, you know what I'm saying? Her face was swollen. They went in. It was just nonstop action for 5 rounds. It was
just beating the shit out of each other.
Beating the dog shit out of each other. It was a championship bout, and honestly, it was the fight of the night.
They say it's going down as one of the, if not the best
greatest fights. Yeah, the greatest title fight in women's history.
In women's history,
so
sure.
I was glad I got
instant classic.
Yeah, so that was really dope. And yeah, so I don't want any problems with. I don't want problems with nobody, but them women will definitely kick my ass.
Hell no, I wouldn't want no smoke. That's not an argument you want to be getting yourself into. If you date one of these women, that's not the one you want to get. You know, you don't want no problems with them.
Nope. Not to say you should ever have a violent altercation with any woman, but I just feel like they might just take it there just because they know they can whoop your ass. It's like, come on, baby, I just
slap the dog shit out of you, dog. What do you mean, bro? When I seen the highlights before that fight, I thought to myself, I said, wow, I've never seen a woman fight like this in my life. Like, she fights better than most men I've ever seen. Yeah,
bro. They get active, like active.
The hands are crazy.
Yeah, so the Chinese lady is like
undefeated,
ripped up. She's young. She's like 20, 21 years old.
A monster.
Monster. And then the other one was a vet, the one from Poland. She's been out for a minute.
More skilled.
Yeah, super skilled. You would look at her. She's like kind of unassuming.
Yeah.
But
you would see, just naturally looking, you would give the Chinese woman the advantage just based off of stature.
Like body and all that? Yeah, for sure.
She's solid.
Yeah.
Solid muscle.
And she came in. She was the champion. She defended her crown, by the way. She won. Yeah. It was pretty good. It was 48-47, I think is how they scored it. It was a split decision, though.
Which is crazy because I guess when you look at the fight in a whole, and I guess the amount of punches and all those strikes landed, I guess, in that form. But then when you look at the end and then you're looking face to face and you see old girl's head tripled in size.
Well, yeah, that was, it was one punch that she hit like dead on her forehead, and you could see it. Like, it was almost instantly as the fist was leaving her forehead, that shit was just started to balloon up.
Yeah, it just grew.
And then it just got bigger and bigger for the next 2 rounds. So it was pretty rough. But
I'm curious to see what it looks like right now.
Yeah, it's probably condensed, but it's definitely like purple.
You think it's went down?
Yeah, because I mean, they got money, bro. She's been treated all night. Had to been.
Hopefully,
you know what I'm saying? They probably
nothing serious.
Yeah, I sure hope not, bro. That's fucking insane.
Because I've never seen anything swell up like that before.
No, she even said she definitely whatever blood vessels go up here, something got popped.
Something
because that shit was
not natural.
Instant.
It wasn't natural.
It was instant, bro. It was scary. Like Joe Rogan was calling the fight, and he was like, "Look at the hematoma on the top of her head." Like as soon as it happened, it just blew, and then it just like spread, and just like she went from like a Beyonce size forehead to a Rihanna size forehead.
Man, bigger than Rihanna's, man.
Yeah, but except it came out, it like protruded, like it went forward.
Like I was telling you, for those who've seen Goonies, looked like Chunk.
Yeah,
the deformed dude that was in the little prison cage locked up. She looked like him at the end of the fight.
Her head was fucking enormous, bro.
So y'all should go check out that photo.
Like that dude from Star Trek. I don't know if it's the big black dude with the
I don't. That's a question for Abel.
Okay.
If you're talking about Star Trek, I don't know shit about that.
I don't either, but I've seen a picture of the character. He's like got the big head.
Yeah, he's got the scales too.
Yeah.
I don't understand Star Trek anyways.
I don't either, bro. I just
all the villagers. If you're a Trekkie villager, let us know. But another news of the men, the Nigerian, Israel.
Oh yeah,
Adesanya.
I barely want to talk about it because it was such a shitty fight.
Oh man, we just gonna be real quick on this. Romero, that was the worst fight I've ever seen in any sport, boxing, UFC. That was the worst.
Especially for a headline pay-per-view, super hyped sort of thing, where this dude Romero from Cuba. He was so first of all, you have Israel. How do you say his last name? Adesanya, right? He's a young phenom out of Nigeria. He's Nigerian by way of New Zealand, like we're Ethiopian by way of America, right? And he's taking UFC by storm. He's the middleweight champion, and this dude Romero is like he's old. He's an elder statesman of the league or whatever you want to call it. But he's a monster, like a pit bull. He's 42 years old. They say he's 6 foot, 185, but he looks like he's like 240. He's just jacked, and he's just extremely like explosive. And whereas Adesanya is like a shapeshifter, he's very technical, and long story short, this dude Romero just like wouldn't fight. Like he was just, in my opinion, just like standing around just waiting for chances to ambush him. But if you're the champion, you don't have, in my opinion, you don't have any reason and urgency to try to like run into getting your ass like if you know the person you're fighting against, you know what type of fighter they are, they wait and then they ambush, a minute or two at a time. Why would you run into that? So I understood Adesanya's technique from the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Hit, move. Fucked his leg up. The dude's was bruised and whelped up all over his leg. In my opinion, he did what he had to do to win.
Took
the
about
fight.
2 rounds for him to hit him, but whatever.
I mean, yeah, he ain't finna run in there and get knocked out in the first round.
I'm just saying, that shit was super boring, dog. For the first, 3 minutes of the first round, they literally danced. The fight was so bad, I've never watched a fight where the ref has to encourage fighting.
Yeah, he told them that, yeah.
Like, hey, you guys, this is pay-per-view. People paying. Come on, let's do something. Let's fight.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree.
That shit boring.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand what you're saying. Like, the champ, yeah, of course, he has nothing to gain by going out there and trying to, put himself in a situation where he could possibly get his ass dropped. The other dude, yeah, would have been more so on the offensive, whereas Adesanya.
And then he had the nerve
so.
at the end of the fight to complain, like, people came, they paid for a fight, but bitch, then why didn't you go out there and try to fight? Like,
he said he was running.
Yeah.
He said, if they want to go, watch Usain Bolt.
Yeah. He said, yeah, fuck him, bro. He lost my respect. When I watched him, I was like, dude, this dude's a monster, but you're fighting in a championship fight. Like, you're the challenger.
Yeah.
So if you want something, you got to go out there and get it. And so you failed, bro. We got him probably a nice little check out of it, though.
Yeah, them niggas suck. But on from those losers. In spirit of Women's Month, the baby, that probably wasn't the best transition.
No, it was a terrible transition.
So video has surfaced of him in Tampa, walking up to the stage. I guess he was, part of his tour, about to perform.
Yeah.
And there's video where a woman apparently is with her camera phone out, hits him in the eye.
Yeah.
And the baby's immediate reaction turns and slaps the shit out of her.
For real? I haven't even seen the video. Was it like reflex, or was it like...
It was pretty much reflex at that point.
You could tell, like, he saw her and...
Yeah, it was like, imagine like you're walking past me and then I'm like... And then you hit me in the eye and I turn around and you're... Bah! Cock back and smack the shit out of somebody. And so immediately following that, the response from the crowd was not good.
They could see it?
Oh man, he was walking up to the stage, so if you're in the area like right there, you saw it. And plus, people from the stands or whatever, if you see the video, you can see what I'm talking about.
I'm seeing it right now. Yeah, and it was a flashlight too, like all up in his face.
Yeah,
so you probably couldn't even see who it was.
No, he knew it was a woman.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I'm just looking, like I'm literally watching it right now. You just see a flashlight. Damn.
He came out and said, hey, if anybody can get better footage of, because there was that one angle that was from a little further, and now a little closer of an angle came out.
This is like an above angle. You see that? He's like right in his face.
Yeah, that's one angle, and then there's another angle that just came out, where you can see it a little more closely, and in there, yeah, you see it in there. So you see him get hit in the eye. So
yeah,
it's Florida. He's probably good. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Florida niggas.
Stand your ground, goddamn. He got hit in the face. He smacked her. He's good. That's in Florida law, I'm assuming, right? That looks like it constitutes for stand your ground. But yeah, that's just insane to see that video when he just smacked the shit out of her. Like, I just look back and I'm like, damn, bro. That's not a good look for you, especially because women love you. But then there are going to be fans who are going to either give him the benefit of the doubt.
That bitch shouldn't have hit him in the face. She knew what she was doing. I mean, if you look at the video, it looks like she knew what she was doing, though.
Yeah, it looked like she just...
Yeah, she had it like 2 inches from his face and then pink, like dots him in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it looked kind of disrespectful. I think but that doesn't, I guess, like... make the fact that he smacked the dog shit out of her any more acceptable. I think he definitely reacted in the wrong way. You should never have to. I know you get hit in the eye. I'd be upset too, but I'm not going to turn around and smack the shit out of a woman like that.
Oh no!
Especially because
nothing justifies the way you slapped her.
Yeah, it's not justified.
It twisted.
There could have been other ways to handle that. You could have had your security step in, remove her, whatever things. Because essentially it ruined the show, right? As soon as he got up there, he's getting booed. And,
for real?
Yeah, didn't even perform. They say he didn't even perform. The show didn't continue because people were upset. They just seen him smack a woman. people don't take really light to that, which is good. And considering that.
That's wild, bro. Speaking of women getting slapped with shit, Meg the Stallion got slapped with reality about her record deal recently after signing with Roc Nation. As it turns out, her deal was pretty much standard procedure.
Yeah. And by signing with Roc Nation, for those who are wondering, she's technically her record label is 1501, but her management is Roc Nation.
So Roc Nation, for the most part, they handle a lot of management of artists. Even Nip, before he passed away, signed with Roc Nation for management, and that's where they can kind of handle all the business matters on behalf of the artist, right? And so in this case, she signed with Roc Nation. And of course, as a business manager, you go over all the deals and see what you can do, fix, improve, whatnot. And so apparently they had went back to 1501, the record label, and as she claims, tried to renegotiate her deal. As the label claims, they tried to muscle him into changing the contract. And so now she's going on a whole publicity campaign to try to say how she's been wronged and her deal is terrible and blah, 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 blah. Well, Meg, we love you, but facts are facts. So we're here to break down the facts for the village. Okay, so as far as her record deal is concerned, we're going to go over a little bit of numbers and a little bit of breaking it down outside the numbers so you have some context, right? The numbers are pretty simple, though. It's a 360 deal. People don't know what that means, really. A 360 deal just means not only is the label entitled to money from your recordings, but in the contract entitles them to all the stuff involving your contract, so merchandise, touring, things like that. So Meg gets 40% of all of her royalties net, meaning after all costs, okay? 70% of her merchandising net. 70% of her performance revenue over $1,000 net, and then 100% of her performance revenue below $1,000. So basically, like little mini appearances and things like that, she doesn't have to pay the label back if they're under $1,000 after cost. But anything above $1,000, she gets 70%, which is obviously a super majority. Merchandise, she gets 70%, but her royalties, she gets 40%, which is the actual music. Okay, so that's what it breaks down to. And as far as like the way labels stuff is concerned, is you get money in advance and then you owe the label, these terms, and then it's usually broken down instead of not only just years, but like albums or whatever the product is that you're like putting out. So in this case, that she has to deliver a full LP, which is an album, right? There's an EP, which is a smaller album, like 5-6 songs, and then an LP is a full-length album. All right, her deal calls for delivery of a full LP, all right, with 2 options, meaning 2 additional albums, okay? So it's like if anybody follows sports, you have like team options, record labels, kind of like the same thing. So, and then the option is on the team, so they can say, all right, we're going to extend for 1 more album or extend for 1 more year, right? And so the delivery, this is the key, right? The album must clock in no less than 45 minutes to be considered an album. Well, Tina Show is 30 minutes.
Oh, Tina Snow.
Oh, Tina Snow, excuse me, 30 minutes. Fever, 40 minutes and 9 seconds. And Sugar, 24 minutes, 33 seconds.
So technically none of those are
albums. So when she's talking about having 4 albums and having to make 4 albums, that's not the case. She just made 3 that don't qualify. So technically her 4th album will just be her first. Aha. So there's the caveat. And then they'll still have the option for 2 more albums. So it's going to end up being 6. All right. In addition to her advance, which was minimal, 10 grand, so they say, for the Tina Snow project, a minimum of $60,000 and a maximum of $100,000, including mastering and marketing costs. The recording budget for the 2nd and 3rd albums, assuming 1501 picked up both options, is the same. So basically what they committed to is they said, hey, we're going to give you at least $60,000, but at most $100,000 to make these albums. Okay, and then that's where that whole net kicks in. It's 40% of cost after the recoup. Does that make sense? So hey, after we get all of our money back that we've put up first, then you will go ahead and get your 40%, your 70% of touring, blah, 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 blah. So Tina Snow was first. And assuming that the other two were under the same option, you could assume that they were all like that. So you're talking about $180,000 to $300,000 worth of budgeting. Anything over that, this is where she was getting in. What she was saying is, oh, I have to pay for it out of my money. Well, the budget was already set. So anything more than that, yeah, it's going to come out of your pocket, but then you're going to get it back. You're still going to recoup your cost. And then we get into the 40-60 or 60-40, depending on which perspective you're looking at it, right? She's going to lose in court because it's clearly, I mean, I guess I'm not the judge, but everything is pretty straightforward, right? So there's no reason to think that she has any like grounds to win. I mean,
can she hold out like in sports?
She can try to pull a Frank Ocean, but what good is that gonna do? They still own her rights, so she can hold out for as long as she wants. But as soon as she tries to make other music, she's fucked. She would have to pull like a Prince and come out as like a totally different artist. You know how Prince came out as like the symbol instead of a name? Because when you sign that shit, they're signing that they own like the rights to Meg the Stallion as a name. Like all that's tied into it. So I guess if she wanted to come out as like Meggie the Pony or some shit, she could. I don't fucking know. But Meg the Stallion, it's over with for you. Yeah.
Damn. They should have something in there where you can revisit contracts at some point, whether it's every year or after every.
Yeah, that's the option. You can revisit it.
Yes.
After the first album, she could have.
Yeah.
But
I thought it said after 4.
No, after 1. But she never put out a full length album. Because the qualifier is that it's 45 minutes. Tina Snow's 30 minutes. It doesn't count.
So none of these albums are going to technically count for shit.
Per her contract.
That's interesting.
She has no, like, what I'm saying is if they decide to count them as an album, 1501 has the power to say, yeah, don't worry about it. It's an album. But per her contract, she hasn't completed an album. So in her eyes, she's probably looking at it and saying, oh, I've done my term. Her term was a 3-album deal. 1, 2, 3. But it was first album with 2 options to be picked up by the team. So assuming they picked it up, then it was good. On top of that, remember I mentioned she wasn't 20 years old. This contract was signed February 3rd, 2018. Or no, was delivered on the February 3rd, 2018, signed on the 4th, the next day. Megan was 22. She wasn't 20 years old. So basically everything she's been saying, low-key, has been a lie.
Damn.
Yeah.
When she signed with 1501, right?
Huh?
When she signed with them, right?
When she signed this deal in particular.
Yeah.
It was February 2018, so about 2 years ago, and she was 22 years old. And you got to remember, people don't realize it was her mom. Like, her mom was the one instrumental. She was her manager. Rest in peace to her mom. She passed away. But it was her mom, and it wasn't even, oh, dude, Crawford. It was like his right hand. So her right hand and his right hand worked the deal out. Oh, it's a standard deal. They gave her a budget. They gave her everything. And she blew up. But you got to understand, they signed the deal before she blew up. So why wouldn't they reap the benefits as a business? It's like, you know, you go flip a house, right? Or you go buy a property that you're taking the risk when you buy a property. You don't know, or it's like, you know, those storage wars. You don't know what's going to be, how that property is going to turn out. You don't know how the general market is going to turn out. But if you invest in a property, you put money in and you fix the property, and then boom, they build a highway down the road or a big ass stadium, and now the shit appreciated to $1 million. That old person who sold you that property can't come back and be like, oh, I want a piece of the pie. Nah, bro. You signed the deal. You let this shit go. Now it's all me. Yeah. That's how I feel. Now, that's the business side of me. If I was if I was Megan's people, of course, I'd be trying to fight tooth and nail for anything. But the reality of it is there's a 4 corners doctrine. I heard Remy Ma say this in an interview. The 4 corners doctrine. Do you know what that is? Whatever's on the inside, the 4 corners of that paper is what's real. So within them 4 corners, she signed a deal. And yeah, Meg, you're going to have to own up, baby.
She's out of there, man. Maybe if you get corona, you can get out of it.
Yeah, I guess that's a good segue because we still dealing with this shit, this corona shit.
This outbreak is getting serious. Quarantines are happening. We've heard.
Yeah.
Just to kind of sum it up, shit's been collapsing in China. Shit they build real fast. Them hotels already done killed like a dozen people. Now the coronavirus is in America. We got our first death in the West Coast.
6 of them now. They're all in the same from the same nursing home. Here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. More people have died from the flu than coronavirus since this corona outbreak has came out. 1, 2. Everybody who's died has had some sort of pre-existing condition, some respiratory issue. They're all old. The reality of it is that if you're young, you keep healthy, you fucking drink some vitamin C, wash your hands, hide your kids, hide your wife, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
But one thing that I found very interesting was something I just saw on Twitter. And you know how we've heard of these outbreaks, swine flu, this, that, and the other. I'm going to break it down. Since 2004, SARS. 2008, the avian virus. 2010, swine flu. 2014, Ebola. 2016, Zika. 2020, Corona. These are all election years, okay?
Yeah.
Besides 2010 to 2014 were what people really have to realize is every 2 years is an election year in America, because you still have the senators and the House of Representatives that swap out. So every few years, you have these breakouts, and it's usually around very important elections. 04 was Bush round 2. 08 was Obama. 2010 was right after Obamacare, and when they switched back and we lost the Senate. 2014 was the second midterm election with Obama. 2016, Zika, and 2020, Corona. So it's always about like these things, because the reality of it is, I mean, it sucks to say, but niggas die every day, B.
Yeah, and most of them ain't dying from corona.
Nah, yeah. Apparently we exempt. Apparently, you know what I'm saying, we're not part of the part of the people who are getting hit by this virus. And then, but there's been a lot of a ripple effect. Like South by Southwest, which is a huge festival down here in Texas and Austin, got canceled. Why? Because this craze about niggas dying, which is, it sucks because you have a bunch of artists. Shout out to Melat, who's from Austin. She actually just did a show here, which was awesome. She had Helen and Asmara perform as her opening ticket, and it was awesome.
And we had DJ Way Good DJing. Yeah,
exactly. Shout out to Way Good. And she's from Austin, and it's a big event for her and for many other up and coming artists to kind of perform in front of people that would never see them.
Yeah.
Sponsors, advertisers, all this shit.
Yeah, it's huge.
And canceled.
Yeah.
Because of the fucking craze of coronavirus. If you go online, you can buy some tickets right now for super dum cheap, because airlines got to sell tickets, because these flight patterns, they fly all these flights no matter what.
Yeah.
So they got to fill the tickets. So now they're selling for the low. In my opinion, it's kind of cool because it kind of changes the market and lets you know how much they can really afford to sell these flights for. But that's neither here nor there. And so it's having a huge effect. And one of the like an interview, I guess you can say, it was like came on to speak to, what news station was it? ABC? He was on there. It was Dr. Drew, and boy was he pissed, because he and of course, you probably have your own opinion on this, but he came in and basically went off and saying that the problem with the coronavirus is not the virus, it's the media.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like,
it's always the media.
Yeah, they're playing it up to be this big thing, and like it's great for their ratings, it's great for their newspapers and all this shit to be talking about it, because people want to pay attention. But the reality of it is that it's no worse than any other. First of all, coronavirus is a common term, that's on all sorts of different disinfectants and stuff like that. But it's no different than any other sickness that has been out there. And it's the media who's like hyping it up and creating these super crazes. And, the market is falling. Other companies are rising because they create products that are, medically, like the masks or whatever. 3M, their stock has been shooting through the roof. And they're just disrupting markets, all for what? And I think that it's funny because whether people see it or not, I think this is a way to and it's right before the election. I think this is a big way for I don't know. I just thought about this, bro. Wow, I just had an epiphany. Wow, imagine, it's crazy. I just feel like the media, which is predominantly, left, liberal, I feel like they just cracked the code on a way to reverse the one main thing that Trump, like, it's kind of undeniable statistically that Trump can say, like, went on during his administration. Whether he was the actual catalyst for it is a different thing, but it went on during his administration, and that's the stock market, like, shooting up. It was on a steady rise, obviously, since Obama, but it shot up after his election, since his election, and now it's like plummeting.
Yeah, it's the lowest it's ever been.
I mean, not ever.
Yeah, but you know,
it's the lowest it's been any time relatively recently, and wow, I can't believe it. I think that's like the big play, because now when he goes in and he talks against. When he's speaking to whomever he's speaking against, whether it's Bernie or Biden or Mary Sue who comes out of nowhere, he can't have that ammo in his arsenal. Yeah. Damn. Wow. Funkadelic, man. Wow, I can't believe this.
But that's every election. There's always something that's going to arise that is going to either work against you or for you. And this is going to work against him in a sense, right? At least that's what they're going to. Yeah, but the Dems are going to try to use in rebuttal, because he can't use that in his argument now. The stock market's been the best it's ever been when I've been in there. Well, now, if you've noticed, because we live in the moment, and this is a very recent time, it just had. Now, if this had happened maybe a year or two ago, it might have, like, he can get around it. But now that it's happened towards this point, and then the coronavirus is happening, all these different little things are going to start coming up as an issue. And now it's, what is your response been? How have you handled this situation? And then that's where the rebuttals are going to have to really be strong, because all that, you know, it's easier to run for the first time than it is to want to get reelected, right? Yeah. Your first time running, you run on basis of chance, hope, change, these different things, right? Yeah. That's every person coming into the first election, right? Yeah. Make America great again. We got to change. We got to get back to these whatever glory days, right? Yeah. Obama was hope. We can do all of these things. It's all these premises. Now you have these other guys, Bernie, all of these people saying we need to change what's going on. Same thing. They have more of a stronger leverage now in this situation than he does. And we see it all the time, right? Yeah. It's really just how he can overcome that situation, which of course doesn't look pretty good right now. But you know, he has a very strong base, and he works to it very well. Also, even with the Democrats, they have their own, you know, they got their own. Me in politics, I don't really like a lot of politicians personally, just because I think they all have this underlying creepiness to some of them, like Biden, like that video we saw earlier. Him and those little girls. That was super creepy. It's just fucking very uncomfortable, awkward, if anybody's ever seen it. So already
Biden is an uncomfortable, awkward, just weird motherfucker.
And he's not, and he's almost kind of like I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. Like, he'll go up there and stumble across his words from time to time, right? So you have all these little issues, right? Because if we want, we could jump into the Super Tuesday talks, right, with the voting and the primaries. Yeah. So that concludes Boonut Time. And we've seen him in this video. If anybody ever gets a chance to see it, it's a bunch of photo opportunities that people are taking with him and standing around, and they have their kids, a lot of young little daughters, and he's just swooning over them almost. It's like he's got their hand on the shoulder, like putting his fingers through their hair, whispering, and I don't know. It's very creepy. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't my first time seeing that shit, so I was like,
that was my first time seeing that. So I was very uncomfortable watching, and disturbed. I was just sitting there like, what is going on in this video? Am I the only person who, you know, when you're watching it and now you're thinking, what is everybody else in that room at that moment thinking? What is the girl in the situation thinking? The cameraman obviously knows it because he's zooming the fuck right in. Yeah. He's like, okay, this is very strange.
I mean, there's no way that those little girls are comfortable with that.
Hell no, they look super uncomfortable in there. They just look like they want to get the hell away. Like, hey, get me away from this creepy old man. That's why I'm not.
You're not interested in Biden.
I'm not interested in Biden, but at this rate, looks like he's going to be our primary for the Democratic Party, right?
The nominee, right? Yeah. So Super Tuesday went in a direction that pretty much nobody expected, right? Four candidates went into Super Tuesday, right? Pretty much everyone had dropped out right before. You had Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Mike Bloomberg, Elizabeth Warren, and Michael Bloomberg put up the most money, and he put it all up specifically for Super Tuesday. He wasn't a part of any of the other primaries like New Hampshire, Iowa, and all that shit. He invested like hundreds of millions of dollars, almost $500 million in states like Texas, California, Colorado, all these other states. And Biden was on the opposite end of that spectrum. He was involved in every primary, but he probably had the least amount of money invested. He had the least donors. I mean, he was fading from the beginning. Okay, Bernie Sanders had the most momentum. He had won the majority of the primaries before, except for right before Super Tuesday, which is where Biden came out of nowhere and won in South Carolina, which is a predominantly black voting group or establishment. It's big. Black voters are most powerful if any state in South Carolina, and secondly probably like Georgia. So, and then you had, who was left, Elizabeth Warren, who didn't win a damn state, but she got more than 15% in one state, probably Massachusetts. I'm not exactly sure. And so she got some delegates there. Long story short, Bloomberg won the American Samoas. And that was it. Elizabeth Warren didn't win a single state. He
won the what? American Samoas.
Yeah, the Samoan Islands or whatever.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was considered like an option, like for a state. And
yeah, just like, Puerto Rico gets a vote.
Shit, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought these were just territories. I didn't know they had
They're considered U.S. citizens, so they vote.
They're citizens?
Yeah.
I did not know they were considered citizens. I thought they were just considered... territories where they have
the American Samoas get a vote for sure, because that's the one thing that he won.
Man, how many people know even where that shit is on a map? I couldn't even tell you. I'm guessing towards Hawaii.
I don't know.
Shit. I don't know.
Yeah, he won that shit though. So he got a W at least somewhere. Elizabeth Warren got delegates from some states, but didn't win any particular state. Texas was actually the most diverse as far as like spread out. It was like over 10% for Warren, over 10% for Bloomberg, and then you had within the 30s for Bernie and Biden, and I believe Biden ended up winning. And then you had California that Bernie, that's where Bernie did like the most of his stomping around, and even if he won California, Biden still got a shit ton of those delegates. So long story short, Biden won Super Tuesday. He won.
Well, remember Dallas is about to do the recount.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
So amongst all that, Biden ends up winning 9 states, I believe. Bernie wins like 4, but Bloomberg wins 1, and that's how it kind of panned out. Well, come to find out, here in the great state of Texas, Dallas County has 44 precincts, which is basically voting areas, schools, libraries, shit like that, that they just found 44 thumb drives, which is full of all the data from the voters that were not counted yet. Dallas County is probably the second biggest county in the state of Texas, or third. You got Harris County in Houston, Tarrant County is huge, in Fort Worth, and then Dallas. And Dallas was a pretty split up county in between Biden and Bernie. So Biden ended up winning the state of Texas. Not sure if it's going to make a difference as far as the whole state, whether the vote as far as who wins changes, but some delegates may get moved around because 10% of the entire county wasn't counted. 10% of the precincts. Now, how many people voted in those precincts? It could be even more or even less.
10% of the state, right?
No, 10% of the precincts in Dallas. There's like 400 something precincts in Dallas, I guess. If 44% is 10%, if 44 is 10%, then there's like 450 precincts, 450 voting places. 44 of them were not counted. This is just in Dallas. So the Dallas County people have asked the state and the government for a recount so that they can at least count all those and move them in. And if things change, then they change. In all likelihood, Biden's still going to win. And with 14 on Super Tuesday and then however many coming into it, you've got at least 30-40% of the country's voted now for the primary, and Biden is taking the lead. And he's done so without any money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, he really doesn't need it in a sense, right? Because you were the VP. You're
right.
known.
You're known, but you need it to like fund your ads and fund because you know politics is nasty. Yeah, they get in there and then they just start saying the most random, bringing out all these old ass facts and like all this shit, and it can get really, really, really bad. So you need money, but the money is more so a qualifier to let you know what type of momentum you have. That was the idea. Money was not just about paying for shit, but it was also to say, hey, if you've got this much money, then you've got a power, like you've got a campaign behind you.
That's can buy votes almost.
Yeah, I mean, no. Okay, let me put it like this. Like in the debates,
you can buy votes.
You can, but in the debates, for example, they would say to qualify for the debate, you've got to have at least 2% of the polls, but you've got to have this much money, right? Or these many individual contributors, because the idea is if you have 60,000 people contributing to your campaign, or if you have $3 million in your campaign, then that is proof that people, because you're not buying the voters, it's the voters who are giving you the money. Yeah. So it's like them and it's the voters buying the politician, not the other way around. Do you see it? You see what I'm saying? The money is not money they're creating. It's money they're getting from donors. Yeah. So in that sense, Biden wasn't even out here raising money. So people are contributing to all these other people. And it's the only person who doesn't qualify for that is Bloomberg. He's the one who you can say is buying voters because he's got billions and he's putting it up.
Yeah, he can afford it.
But see, now what's going to happen is, okay, right before Super Tuesday, Klobuchar bounces, Pete Buttigieg bounces, and they all come out and they back Biden. And then now, since Super Tuesday, and why we had to re-record is because literally right after we record, it comes out that Bloomberg drops out, and he's backing Biden. Warren drops out, and she's not backing Bernie. As a matter of fact, she's still tearing him down, saying that his campaign is like dirty tricks, blah 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 blah. But she dropped out now too, so it is now Bernie versus Biden, and the powers that be are consolidating around Biden. Yeah, and I think even she will end up being behind Biden because
surprisingly,
kind of
because she's more her shit is more aligned with Bernie more so than Biden's.
Right, but if you like follow politics in depth. A lot of why her policy started changing is because she took on a lot of Obama's people in regards to like her consultants and people who are helping her shape her campaign. Well, Obama and Biden are, tied to the hip in a way. And so when people by voting for Joe Biden, people are really trying to vote for an Obama third term. And they want that sort of
that same administration.
Yeah, they want that same administration.
Which makes sense. But I don't know. I don't trust him. I'm not a big Biden guy, but I guess if he's the primary, I'd rather him than Trump again, obviously, right? Get to vote again for the second time.
Yeah, and he got Senator Harris's endorsement.
Yeah, he got Senator Harris. So Bernie got Jesse Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a recent announcement.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the big thing, what's next is going to be who they announce as their potential VP.
Yeah, that's going to make the difference.
That's going to make the difference in my opinion.
I guess that eliminates the whole thought of Warren and Biden. I mean, Bernie
Warren and Sanders. It's over.
That's out of there. Yeah. So now it's, I don't know who the hell's going to be at this point. Not too many people have much of a progressive political ideals as Bernie does. It's going to have to be somebody that we know, but probably won't expect in the sense off the top of our heads.
Man, it'd be tight if it was like, I can't be Ilhan because she wasn't born here, right? She's a refugee, so I can't be her. Fuck. Not a refugee, excuse me, an immigrant.
Man, even if it was her, they wouldn't. They wouldn't win.
Yeah, I don't know who it's gonna be, but so I'm just trying to think right now. Maybe AOC. It's got to be somebody who's super progressive. And it's funny because we were talking about this before
It's gonna be a woman.
before the podcast even started, before we started recording, how the progressive movement, and it's so funny because I think it was maybe an episode or two ago, you were breaking down the switch of like liberalism and conservatism, and how the Republicans were more liberal and then the Democrats were more conservative, and then over time there was like a switch, right? Because of different laws and acts that were enacted and who did them and which parties brought these things into account, and then the voter base switched, the side of liberalism versus conservative switch. And I think this shit is going to happen again because these quote unquote progressives are actually becoming less tolerant than the conservatives, in my opinion, because tolerance meaning being able to hear a difference of opinion and accept it as a difference of opinion.
Yeah, which is super ironic, ain't it?
Super ironic, because now if you don't believe in these progressive agendas, you're a bigot in some way. You're a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, or what do you call it?
You're canceled almost.
You're canceled.
It's a cancel culture we live in now.
Yeah, and you've got some phobia.
Yeah.
It's like, or like, why can't I just disagree? Right? Versus the conservative side, who's kind of the more so like open-minded, like you should be able to think whatever the fuck you want to think. Like, you know, hey, I may not agree with gay marriage, but I have the right to agree or disagree with it as an individual.
Yeah, but you can't speak out on it or else
yeah,
you're shamed, you're canceled. You can get canceled.
Yeah, you're a homophobe.
Yeah.
Is what they call it. But how am I a homophobe? Not me personally, but someone who may say, "Hey, I don't agree with this." That doesn't mean I have a phobia. Like I can even be friends with someone who is gay. That doesn't mean I agree. Like I may have my reasons why I don't believe it makes sense or blah 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 blah. Just using that as an example, but it could be anything. You know what I'm saying? It can be like the big thing now is the transgender stuff. I remember seeing some shit on Twitter where it was like an argument as an individual stating that they would rather not date someone who was trans. And then that made them transphobic. I'm saying, wait, what? Like, whatever happened to preference?
Yeah.
Right? I don't date white women, personally. That doesn't mean I hate white women. Doesn't mean I'm racist against white women. I actually just prefer to date Abishas if I get the chance. I have a preference to want to maintain my culture. Does that mean I'm racist or don't fuck with all these other races? No. Shit, I may even find them attractive. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not in a relationship, I may even do something strange for a little piece of change. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean that I see them as any less than myself or not. I just have a personal preference. And I feel like that's a big problem with our culture now. That nobody can have their own opinion without being labeled in some box. Like you've got to be ultra accepting of certain things, and it's like, nah, bro. Like, I think there's something to say for people who have their own morals, standards, ethics, and it's like, all right, this is what I believe. This is why I believe it. Or even without having to explain themselves as to why I believe something. Like, dude, this is what the fuck I believe, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And I think like I honestly feel like that's how the Democratic Party is going to resurge themselves. I mean, the Republican Party. And I also think that that's why the Democratic Party is scared of Bernie Sanders, because they know that he's going to drive shit so left that they're going to lose anybody who's got an inch of moderate or open-minded thinking to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where we at. That's where I'm at with it. Like, I even though I did vote for Bernie, not gonna lie, I did, because I feel like his agendas make the most sense for like relative to
With what you agree with.
With what I personally agree with, right? I
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah, of course not. But I understand at a more macro level, I understand why a party as a whole would be scared of him representing their party. Yeah. Like, he would have been better off staying as an independent as far as they're concerned. Yeah. Like, sure, yeah, just run as an independent. Don't run with the Democratic flag.
But it's easier to.
Yeah, because you need that whole campaign arm.
Yeah.
He needs the opportunity to campaign against Biden. Like, that puts him on a platform rather than saying, I'm independent, fuck those guys, fuck those guys to the left, fuck those guys to the right. Well, then you're going to be marginalized out. You're going against the two machines. So it's better to hijack one of the machines, which is what Trump did, right? He went and hijacked the Republican machine and said, instead of being an independent, I got to take on the establishment, right? So that I can represent them, so that then now they back me because they don't want to lose.
Yeah, because
it's like a little mind fuck.
And it coincides with what you're saying on conservatives having to refrain from, I guess, their ideals, speaking out their beliefs and so forth, which that's why they were so much into Trump. That's why Trump was so appealing to them. He gave them a voice. He was able to come out and say what they were thinking and not be afraid of the backlash, feel ashamed of what he believed in.
And the country found that very refreshing.
Exactly. And he's basically doing what, I guess, what progressives would do, where they speak out on topics that their beliefs are strong in, whether it's gay rights and immigration laws, so forth, and then where he's on the opposite end saying, nope, I don't believe in any of that. Nope, send them all back. And they're like, yeah, I agree. This problem is caused by this, such. I don't agree with it. And they're like,
or even if
shit.
they don't agree.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think people don't give enough credit to. Even if people don't agree, they vote for him because he's going to say whatever the fuck he's thinking. Yeah. And people trust that. You know, it's like trusting. It's like trusting the devil you know versus the devil you don't. You
know what you're getting.
Yes.
There's no surprises. There's not like this curtain that he's standing behind where you there's not just this voice where you're just hearing things like almost like a puppet, right? Yeah. There's somebody hiding behind him, pulling the string, telling them what to say. He goes off cue all the time. For somebody who probably is writing for him every time, they're probably cringing every time he goes up there to do a speech because he ain't gonna follow shit they put up there half the time, right?
Exactly.
That shit could say, "Good morning, America. What a beautiful day. Good morning, America. Did you see Biden and his dumbass, say I should be reelected on Twitter?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll say some stupid shit like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he'll go off page, and he does it all the time. Like, what president just goes on Twitter? And this dude he might be one of the funniest people on Twitter. I can't even front.
Yeah, bro, I follow him. I ain't gonna lie. I'm one of his. What? You best believe I follow President Trump.
That shit's super funny. When he did that Bloomberg response, because Bloomberg tweeted the Star Wars, like a Star Wars meme, where he was going against Trump, and then Trump responded. It
was Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, Darth Vader.
The older Obi-Wan. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi,
shit, right? Hell if I know. I don't know Star Wars either.
Yeah, okay. But I believe it was Obi-Wan or whomever the older Jedi was versus Darth Vader when they had like a little
And Darth Vader's the bad guy, by the way.
Exactly. Darth Vader's the one in black.
So he's supposed to represent Trump.
Yeah, and then Obi-Wan. And what he says is, even if you kill me, I'm going to come back even stronger. Right? The idea was, even if he knocks Bloomberg out with all his tweets and shit, you have to read into it a little bit. Yeah. Bloomberg saying, bro, I still have billions of dollars that I'm going to give to the Democratic Party, which is going to be Biden's war chest, by the way. So all that money he didn't have, he's going to get it through Bloomberg. Okay. But then Trump's response is his own little gif where he's like basically like holding him by his head, like holding him back by his head.
Yeah, with both of their faces pasted over those characters.
Yeah. And he's like swinging at him, but he can't reach him because he's just holding him back like a little kid.
Like Trump's response, like this dude is
he's
hilarious.
Such a fucking troll.
And then he got Biden again just the other day, I think today or yesterday, where Biden was at one of the rallies and stumbling over his words, said several times of re-electing Trump when he's really trying to say we don't want to have Trump win and him be reelected, but it came out as almost like an endorsement to reelect Trump, and Trump took that, retweeted it, and said, "I agree, Mr. Biden." I was like, this dude is a fool, bro.
Yeah, he's got this media thing down. He's got it down, bro.
As much as I can't stand him, he's so smart, man.
Yeah.
He's the dumbest, smartest man I've ever seen, man.
Big fucking facts, bro.
Damn, 45.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see if the power of Obama and the money of Bloomberg is going to be enough, because that's what it's going to come down to, as far as actually, that's what it's going to take, all of that to knock Trump out. Right. And I guess it makes sense that it has to be Biden, because you're not going to get the full backing of the Democratic Party behind Sanders.
If
it's not going to happen. They're
God willing, that's what I would hope. But if not, we will back. At least I'll do my best to back whomever can take him down. Again, you just got to do what's best for the majority, in a sense. What's going to benefit the people? What's going to benefit you? What's going to benefit what your ideals are aligned with?
I think the primaries are that. I mean, shout out to you, by the way. This was your first time getting to vote.
Yes, sir. My first time voting, y'all, because I just became an American last year.
Yeah. Oh, girl on Twitter, you see I had to come and have your back when Shorty was like, I'm happy for you, but I'm also sad that this is your first time voting.
She act like she don't know me, too.
You know her?
Yeah, we went to tech together.
Oh, I was like, damn, girl, you just became a citizen. Like, hold off on my dog, man.
I guess she never knew I wasn't a citizen the whole time. You know,
I mean, you American in a motherfucker. Yeah. That's why. Yeah.
I remember when I walked up to to vote, the old white guy at the desk seen my last name, saw it was hyphenated, because one of those mistakes that your foreign immigrant parents make on paperwork when they get here. Yeah. So on my driver's license, my middle and last name is hyphenated to where it looks like I have two last names.
Oh, okay.
And he seen that and asked me, because I have a foreign name, where are you from? Are you Middle Eastern or black or whatever? And I'm like, or African. I'm like, yeah, I'm African. I'm Ethiopian. And then he said, oh, hyphenate. I've never seen like this. It was like a British colony. And I'm like, no, I'm from Ethiopia. We haven't been colonized. He's like, oh, yeah. You guys never been colonized, right? He's like, hey, man, you speak very good English. I was like, oh, thanks. Been here since I was 9 months, right? Yeah. He's like, well, that's good, man. Don't, keep that up. I know your dad's probably proud of you, and don't just speak that good English. Don't catch on and start speaking street. I was like, what? Yeah, man, just give me my damn ticket, man, so I can vote, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, bro. That shit was funny as fuck. I heard him say that shit, talking about you speak good English. I was trying my hardest not to laugh, bro.
You don't know how common I get that when I tell people, oh, yeah, I was born in Africa. They're like, oh, wow, you speak great English. How long have you been here? Oh, since I was 9 months. They're like, what do you mean? Like 9 months ago? No, since I was 9 months old.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Goofy, I'm an American. Yeah. But
Big Goofy, I'm in a voting booth. Like, how fucking foreign can I be?
Straight up. But, yeah, man, I just want to encourage everybody, make sure you go out there and vote. I know we've talked to some of our friends who haven't voted, and I guess maybe it's the last election or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's the media, things that, have them really believe that their vote doesn't count. Yeah. That it doesn't make a difference, but contrary to belief, it does.
Yeah.
So don't fall victim to that.
And it just bothered me because it's our people, bro. It's mostly black people who I come across that say that shit.
Yeah, young black people.
Young black men mostly.
Yeah.
Who are like, yeah, our vote doesn't count. It's like, or it doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. Yeah. It's like, bro, you've been led to believe that, which is why you don't vote, which is, that whole thing is psychological.
You're doing everything they want you to do.
Yeah, by not voting.
It's literally historic. We've talked about this. Historically, they've wanted to prevent you from voting. And clearly, you're showing them to be successful.
Big facts, bro.
So break the cycle and fucking vote.
Yeah, exactly, man. That shit pissed me off, but I mean that pretty much does it for me, man. Yeah. I just want to make sure people, you know, understand the power that they have and the privilege that they have in a country like this where, you know, literally every vote is tallied, you know, and we are 14% of the population of America as being, you know, black people, African American, however you want to call it, and assuming a 50-50 split, that is a 7% voter base for each gender, right? So it's a significant amount, and you're taking out the power of your you know, base, or who you're responsible for, if you will, your own people, whenever you don't vote. So do that shit, go out and vote. You know, you don't know how many people wish they could vote, and our elections they impact not only us, but they impact the rest of the world. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.